We've got beer, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Beer that you ordered from the house. Thank you very much for joining us for one more round, and welcome back to another episode of Film Club. I'm one of your hosts, as always, Andy Harrison, and to my right is Andy Donaldson.
I'll do.
Every single week in Film Club, we invite you along to watch a film with us. We dive into history of cinema and figure out whether or not his films holds up. Andy, we've got a really interesting one this week. What do we got?
Glengarry, like that.
That was really weird, but I liked it.
Glengarry Glen Ross.
It's a difficult title. Like last week, couldn't get my head around it. This week, can't say it.
It's all about Leeds, man.
But what a peculiar film. So give us a rundown. What's Glengarry Glen Ross about?
It's about a group of salesmen trying to get Leeds to do something. And they don't like the leads, and it's just about them. Alec Baldwin comes in and says, look, this is his last chance. You got to get something, get on the board, otherwise you're all fired. And it's about their last-ditch attempt to get sales.
Yep.
It's one of those, where it came from, the reason I did it is our mate Paul told us about it. Who were going through, because, he's in recruitment. I was in sales at the time. So we were watching sales-heavy films, like kind of where Wolf of Wall Street, that's a bit exaggerated sort of thing. Wolf of Wall Street's more about the character and the eccentricity of him. You got stuff like Boiler Room, Glengarry Glen Ross is where it all kind of stems from. And it's really interesting, actually, because watching it again, it was so eye-opening, a lot of things I didn't actually notice before.
How accurate is this to when you worked in sales?
It's in some respects quite accurate. But the thing is, you've got to take into account that nowadays sales are highly regulated, so you can't do half the stuff. I mean, you lie all the time on the phone. One thing I noticed is you act on the phone, so what I loved about it is, because the performances in this film are superb, is it's just actors doing what they do best, which is acting.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting to see. No, but back in the days, you're talking these old ones like Wolf of Wall Street, they were just highly exaggerating stuff, like Shelley is a great example, or he's just talking. A really good example of salesman and how he do it was Al Pacino when he's inside that bar. What a great scene. What a great just story that he's just making up on the spot. He's talking that drink, the guy that his wife can't do it in the end. He meets him at the bar. Yeah. So that whole whole build up. Yeah, Jonathan Price. Build up, which High Sparrow, isn't he? Build up like this. And it's just all made up, which some people do. I mean, obviously that's a bit of a heavy investment because, these leads, they make a lot of money from it. What is it, 90 grand off one or 18 grand or something? Whereas us, we would probably spend about maybe 20 minutes. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's, so in terms of how accurate it is in terms of sales, it's a different kind of...
Like a heightened reality sort of thing.
Yeah, well, it's not just that, it's an older time.
Yeah.
So it's because it's more regulated nowadays, so you can't really do that. You just... ABC though, mate. That's so relevant. ABC, always be closing.
I didn't know what you meant at first.
Come on, ABC.
I was thinking the Michael Jackson song. Or is it Jackson 5?
Quite
5, isn't it?
Quite possibly, yeah.
ABC, as simple as 1, 2, 3. As easy as do, re, mi.
Great song. Guardians of the Galaxy, isn't it? Yeah. One of the best moments comes from ABC, and it's that speech by Alec Baldwin.
Oh, the opening.
He just owns that fucking whole scene.
That whole opening is amazing.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin, you're right, totally dominates it. It also, I love that it sets up the three characters that are there, which is you get, I can't remember any of their names.
Ed Harris.
You get Ed
which
Harris.
Is Moss, I think.
Who is he's the one who talks back, right?
Yeah,
he's the one
he's got an attitude, hasn't he?
But at the same, so he's got an attitude.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have an attitude to the point that.
Jack Lemmon.
Yeah, what's he called? No.
Al Pacino.
The guy who, Al Pacino.
Yeah.
So what's his name in the film?
Begins at R.
Roma.
So
he hasn't got an attitude to the same point that Roma does.
Yeah, well,
Roma,
Roma basically had to be... threshold, though. He's got a threshold.
Yeah, but Roma wouldn't have sat there and taken any of that. So they make sure he's not there for that scene.
Yeah.
Then you've got Shelley who will kind of he'll sit there and take most of it. He'll eye him up and he'll have a bit of a bite back. And then you've got the third guy, or fourth guy.
Yeah, who plays Moss. Dave Moss.
No, isn't that the guy?
You know about the one that's a bit more, I can't do this, I can't do this.
Yeah, the one who just basically says, and is silent throughout the entire
George Alan Arkin, George Aronhow?
Yes, I'm going yes, I have no idea what he's saying right
now.
Yeah. And he sits there and takes the whole thing, not saying a word, and just very subtly sets up those four really, really well.
Well, it's good. It's really good. And I love, as you mentioned there, how they take Pacino away from it. You see him at the start, and then you have these two guys. There's a really nice thing about how Shelley is. I love how they've all got their own backstory. But yes, as you said, you got that. But with Shelley, he's his own animal. He's like, well, Jack Lemmon got a Academy Award for his supporting actor for this.
Oh, nice.
Because of how much he killed this.
Yeah.
He absolutely nailed this. And it's because he's got this almost bipolar personality to him. He's really nice. He's so fake as a person. He's using anything to get what he wants. And he's like, oh, but this and how do this? And when something doesn't work, it goes, oh, fuck off and all this. And there's so much profanity in this film. It's great. People apparently refer to a death of a fucking salesman. It's based off a play though, isn't it?
It is. And it's written by the guy who wrote the play as well.
Yeah, and fuck me, he's done a good job.
What I found really interesting is that opening scene that we're talking about wasn't in the play.
Oh, really?
And he had to write it specifically for the film.
The setting and
to try and set them all up.
Brilliantly well done.
Yeah, and I just think it's really interesting that had he not done that without this particular change to the script, we wouldn't have got that Alec Baldwin intro.
Yeah, we wouldn't have.
Because after this, Alec Baldwin fucked off for the rest of the film.
Exactly.
He never comes back.
Exactly. He doesn't need to.
No, he doesn't. It's more impactful to have him not come back.
Well, what is it? There's one where it says, it's not AIDS, but it sounds like AIDS, it's attention. Do I have your attention? And all this. And that's exactly, everything he spells out there, I forget what it is now, he does everything to the audience. So it's attention. Do I have your interest? That's it. And I can't remember the other two. Baldwin just absolutely achieves that left, right, and centre. And it's quite funny, actually. I put it down here. There's quite a few people in this film that get sold to. You start with Baldwin, as mentioned. So the salesman, as there's an audience, he sells to us. He sells to the salesman the idea that they're going to lose their jobs and they have to go for it. And they do. Look at their motivation as they go through the film. They're going to do anything. They're ruthless, which is exactly what he was there to do. He's up to add loads of chaos to it all. You've got Kevin Spacey, who sells lemon. Oh, it's $50 a lead and all this. And Lemon's like, I can't do that. But he's like, no, let's do it. Then you got Pacino, who in the bar, the bar scene, Price. He's telling that whole story, so he sells to him. Then you got Ed Harris, who sells to Alan Arkin about the idea of breaking in, which he then sells to Shelley. Yeah. And then the whole film itself, and they all what they do is they all sell to us. They sell the idea of what a fucking great film it is, what exceptionally good acting it is, great directing, great writing, everything. It's just a film that it's literally set in 1 day, 1.5 days, and you're just left at the end like, what a fucking moment. It's
not just set in just that small time period. It's set in like 2 sets, something like that.
Well, that's the other factor as well. So one thing I noticed, and I don't know if you did, I really hope you have, is this is what I mean by watching it again, and it was a bit eye-opening. The way the camera moved. It was sensational. Like, I was thinking this, and I was thinking, I love the way he's panning in to focus on the character. And there's 2 great examples, 2 scenes, isn't there? I think it's towards the start, and it's coming in, you focus on one character, and because they're on the same environment, and that's how it is, it's so fluid. And the way he moves on to another character and focuses on him. Yes, it might switch scenes here and there, but then you look at the bar scene, you've got the 2 at the bar drinking, then it suddenly shifts to Pacino, selling that guy, it shifts back to them 2 at the bar. And it's like, it's almost like it. The one I can think of is, even though I haven't seen it, is what Birdman was trying to do.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because Birdman obviously has that whole gimmick where it's like, let's try and do the whole thing as one shot. Whereas this has this very clever technique of, we're basically going to set the entire film in one main set, which is their office. You then got the bar, which gets one hefty scene. And you get one of Shelley's clients' houses. You get his house, and you get like kind of just outside the office and the Spacey's car. Other than that, there's minute little things where like they're in a car for it. Basically, one set plus like 2 other minor sets, then like 3 or 4 tiny places. It's such a small scale film, and the brilliance of this is you never get claustrophobic. You never start to feel like I need to get out of this room, I need to get out of this office, because you're right. The way in which he moves the camera through those scenes, the way in which he moves the camera through sets to mirror what's going on. One of my favourite examples of this is in the bar when Al Pacino's trying to sell to Jonathan Pryce. Yeah. And he's talking he's waxing lyrical a little bit, and he's talking about ideas and concepts. And the moment where he starts talking about, like, he is the sale pitch. Is that when he brings out the document? I think it is, or maybe right before that, the camera comes in. And it's like, we've been talking, we've been talking casually, and then now it's time to go for the. Yeah. And the way in which like conversations they're blocked out so extremely, blocking being where you tell your actors to move at any given point. Yeah. They're blocked out where a conversation can take place across 4 or 5 different places. you'll start like at a desk, and they'll get up and they'll go in the corner, then they'll get up and they'll go down this other little corridor, then they'll get up and they'll move over to like the office, all while the conversation's still going on.
Well, I remember there's one where it's facing, I think, Spacey at the front of Baldwin, and you got Ed Harris, he's kicking off as he is. I think it's towards the start, and you just hear in the background, I think this Pacino's there, Lemon's here, and then you got whether it's Spacey or Baldwin at the front, and then you can hear Harris having a go at him, and he's offset audio, and yet it's so engrossed. It's almost like you're there in the seat behind Levine.
You'll use stuff like that to swap over who's the main focus of that scene as well. You'll just like hand the scene off to somebody else by having like someone leave and someone else come in. Sometimes not even that clearly. Sometimes someone just starts talking a little bit more than somebody else, and slowly like the scene just moves onto that person. It's awesome. It starts to make you feel like actually there are actually scenes within larger scenes. Because if you broke this down, it consists of like a handful of huge scenes, when really it's actually scenes within those scenes.
Well, have you seen like have you seen the way, yes, you focus on all these people, but everyone in the office I can't find the exact moment, I don't remember, it's just when they're having a massive argument. I think it's when it's on about Harris is having a go, and you look at Levine, and he's just there like this because he's thinking, what the fuck do I... It must be near the start when they're finding out. And everyone's like, one's kicking off, the other's going, I can't do this, and Levine's just looking at himself, because he's got his daughter, and he's just like, everyone's just stuck true to the character.
Yeah.
He's in that shot for a reason. It's amazing, it really is, and it goes back analysing this, makes you realise that, holy fuck, yes, this was based on a play. And, it's all these scenes that...
Because I found out afterwards that this was based on a play, and upon reflecting, I was like, that actually makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
I was loving the way they've said it alongst those few scenes, big long takes and stuff, but when finding out that it was set on a play, I was like, that kind of makes sense, because obviously in a play you can't chop around locations so much, but it adds a really interesting tone to this film.
Yeah.
It's great. One thing we haven't talked about, weirdly, we went over this amazing cast and all the salesmen. Kevin Spacey.
I know, yeah, it's so underrated.
It's not underrated.
Sorry?
Oh, underrated.
Yeah.
I thought you said it's so narrated.
No. Obviously not nowadays, you got stuff like House of Cards, but back then his character almost feels like such a minor character, and he just bides himself. You see him at the office, he does a bit of Spacey-esque kind of like that, almost like monotonous drone.
Yeah.
And everyone's, you got this fiery Pacino, you got the fiery Ed Harris, you got this Aronofsky, what is his name again? Bloody hell, I can't get his name. Aronow, who's like, you got Levine, who's like bipolar, you got Baldwin again, who's absolutely fiery and all this, and then you got Spacey, who just bides his time.
He just takes the abuse.
Hugely.
Constantly.
And he fucks up that deal, Pacino has a go at him,
and
it almost culminates to this end scene where Levine's having a go at him, and oh my god, again, Spacey-esque, but superbly Spacey-esque. He just says, the mental, when we were trying to do this a while back, they don't do anything, they're just messing about salesmen. Why are you doing this to me? And he just goes, I don't like you. Like this. And it's just there's no other way to enjoy Spacey like that.
I find it to be a wonderful arc for his character as well, because a lot of time throughout the film, you are kind of on the side of the salesman, and you do start to think, maybe he's not a great manager, maybe he is a waste of space, like they're all saying. You kind of start to side with them a little bit.
Yeah.
Then you start to notice how much abuse they're throwing at him, and he just quietly takes it.
Yeah.
And then you find out, actually, he's just a very, very clever fucker, because he picks up on that one little mistake at the end, and that just gives his character such a wonderful arc to it.
Well, that's what he's saying before. He never touches on his history. They're all saying, what have you done? This, you're just a secretary and all this. And then you hear in that scene as well, when we were doing this stuff back then. So he knows the whole score, he knows the scene. They might not know that, they might do, but you as an audience member don't know his history, only to find out that, holy shit, this guy knows his shit. And as you mentioned, he's highly intelligent, highly observative.
Yeah.
And maybe the way that he takes that, he takes Pacino, his character, salesmen essentially tend to be a bit, I can't speak for everyone, but a bit, they like to shout if they don't get the way. I'm not anymore.
They also sometimes like to mumble into themselves.
No, you know what I mean? They have passion if they don't get what they want.
Yeah,
they're a bit outspoken sometimes.
You have to be in that environment. You have to be a kind of a go-getting sort of personality.
So maybe Spacey realises that, he lets them do it.
Yeah.
And as and when he needs to, great example, management is at the start when Baldwin's delivering his speech. There's a reason Pacino's not there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, no, you're absolutely right. I think because that last little bit, because you start to realize how intelligent he is, I was suddenly on the side of Spacey that I suddenly kind of like my thought of him morphed into actually what he's doing is a great managerial technique for these people. He understands these people need somebody to rant at.
Yeah.
Because they get each other's throats when he's not around.
Because if they'll go against each other, then you lose that kind of sales force environment.
Exactly.
If they go against the client, you lose the sale.
Yeah. So like he understands
He's
that.
a scapegoat.
And he accepts that he's gonna be the one to take like the brunt of all this abuse.
So looking there at the director, I've never heard him before, James Foley.
Yeah. Hasn't really done anything since this of note.
Is that right?
He's done stuff, but like nothing that's been on this level. I think that honestly, it's probably down to the script because this film.
He did direct House of Cards, 12 episodes.
Yeah, but like that was the
Or was that after it's
original.
been established?
Yeah, the original director to establish that was David Fincher.
What, really?
Yeah, David Fincher did the first 2
House
or
of
3
Cards?
episodes of House of Cards.
And Fincher is the one that did Mulholland Drive.
No, that's David Lynch.
Fincher, remind us?
Fight Club.
Oh, great
Social
shout.
Network.
Yeah, great shout. Okay,
Yeah.
actually, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I think part of the reason that he's never like capitalized quite as well as he does in this. Don't get me wrong, he does a very good job on this, but this is just it's a impeccable script.
Yeah.
And like this is a film that lived and breathed on its script and the way like the actors deliver that script very well, and he also works that script immensely well. But that script is the star of this film.
It really is. That alongside the performances.
Yeah.
Because I love how each person just plays on their own. They must have been given so much creativity to do all that. It's just like, yes, maybe stick to this, but enhance it, make it yourself, become that character. And they do. They're doing what the best thing they can do, which is act. Yeah. It's brilliant. It's seriously.
It's superb. And what a wonderfully odd film in a lot of ways. It's quite understated, but it's so quirky in lots of ways.
Do you know what Jack Levine, The Machine, Shelley reminded me of?
Go on.
His character arc, it's bipolar part, reminded me of Walter White.
Oh yeah, I can see that a little bit. Actually, the way he's kind of like he desperately tries to manipulate people, and when it doesn't work, he gets aggressive.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah,
very good call.
Yeah, cheers.
One day we'll do Breaking Bad on a film club. Watch the entire 6 seasons, 7 seasons,
and just comprise it into one little segment.
But for now, if you want to let us know what you thought of Glengarry Glen Ross, you can let us know in the comments below, or you can hit us up on Twitter. We'll be back once again next week to watch another film in Film Club, where we will be visiting
Leon the Professional.
Well done, Leon the Professional. Thank you very much for joining us this week, guys. See you later.